right, what's up, guys? We got lots and lots and lots to, at least we have seemingly lots to talk about on this show. So, not much time to do it, but we're going to get through as much as we can. All right, Jim, what's up?
Not much. Got the draft that happened. We have free agency happening. Steve Eiserman is starting to form his team, and I'm all about it. Yeah, I love it.
All right, Seth, how's it going?
Great, great, great. Always great to hear that theme music from ESPN National Hockey Night. Random thought I just thought about you as I heard a certain part of the theme music, remembering the image of where they show Claude Lemieux tossing his stick, swinging it in anger, hitting the net after the Wings beat the Avs in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. So great memories and great to get the show started.
All right. Let's get to this. Here we go. We're gonna start with questions. We're gonna start off by talking about the draft, and we're gonna start by talking about Lucas Raymond, the Red Wings' fourth overall pick, or their first overall pick and the fourth overall pick in the draft. What are your thoughts on this player? Do you like the pick or you dislike the pick? What are your thoughts? We'll go to Seth first on this one.
Well, I'm going to be honest, because in past shows, Raymond was one of the prospects we didn't actually talk about. And to be honest, I didn't know really a whole lot about him. And of course, according to most media sources, most people had the Wings taking either Cole Perfetti or Marco Rossi. And I know for a fact, Rossi, I really liked him, and as well as Jamie Drysdale. So I was actually very surprised, and I was kind of underwhelmed. But I think more than anything else because I wasn't really familiar with Raymond. But from what I've heard and from what I've read, Raymond is legit. Though he might take a while to develop. He might not be NHL ready until like maybe a couple years. But from what I'm hearing, he's a legit guy, and Eiserman tends to know what he's doing with draft picks. Like you said, you're not going to hit on every draft pick, but, I like his idea of collecting as many draft picks as you can to give yourself more chances of being able to hit on those picks. And with Raymond, I think he'll turn out to be a good player. I'm not sure if he'll be a franchise type player, but, he should be a very effective player down the road, a very effective part of the rebuild. This was a deep draft, so I'm good with it.
All right, like I was saying last show, I wanted to trade up and get Stützle. In all honesty, after learning about Raymond a little more, I'm like, it kind of depresses me that we didn't talk about him a little more throughout the show because the things I was saying about Stützle is kind of the things I feel that Raymond. I kind of feel this, not quite the same way, but I kind of feel the same way that I felt about Stützle, the way I feel about Raymond. But Jim, what are your thoughts on the Red Wings fourth? What are your thoughts on the Red Wings first overall pick?
I'm going to say I like him, but the reason we didn't talk about him a lot is because of the fact that he didn't play a lot of games. He doesn't have a lot of ice time. He's buried in the men's league. And so I felt like he would take a lot longer to develop. And that's why I didn't look at him as closely. But he's a highly skilled winger. He really is. He's got exceptional hockey sense, terrific hands, great speed. He's got a good work ethic too. He plays with intensity, battles hard for the puck. He's pretty strong for his size. He's only 5'10", 183, but he's a two-way guy. He plays the forecheck well. He's good at stealing the puck too, so he's very capable as a penalty killer. He has a strong wrist shot. He has pretty good vision. Real good vision, actually. There's few weaknesses in his game other than he just has to develop. And let me say this about every draft pick that we have. These kids are 17, 18. This kid's 18 years old. So to develop from a young man at 18, basically just from boyhood to developing into the muscle and the, being a man, it takes a while. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, tomorrow he's going to be in the NHL. No, he'll be in Sweden for the whole year. And next year, probably. But he's going to be good. He has a chance to be a great hockey player. He really does. But it's how much work he wants to put into it. It's how much that he can do. You know what I'm saying? To develop his own body and to be better. More capable as an NHL player, that he's not going to get pushed around and all these things. So development of draft picks is basically on how they develop in their strength training and, filling out their body and becoming a man. I mean, this is all a big, huge gamble on every single player because mentally, physically, they're still immature yet.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, I don't. I mean, you guys said everything that needs to be said about this guy. I feel like so. We got a Alex Lafrancois in the building. What's up, man? I don't know. Let me know if I pronounced your name correctly or not. But yeah, thank you for tuning into the. Thanks for tuning into the show. We hope you have a good time. No, but he says. I'm sorry. Nice draft. Not bad at all. I was hoping you took a goalie, but yeah.
Well, we did take a goalie. We took the second goalie that was rated on the board overall, but I agree with you. I think that this kid's going to be really, really good. Raymond's going to be a good player. So I think we did okay there.
All right, yeah, for sure. All right, does anyone else have anything to add on Raymond, or should we talk about some of our other draft picks now?
Well, everyone loves Raymond. Just kidding.
Oh,
of course, everybody loves Raymond. Yeah. It's always about Raymond.
It was a joke. Sorry, guys.
No, but in all seriousness, does anyone else have anything to add, or should we go ahead and talk about our other draft picks?
Yeah, we can. I'm just going to address that. Alex Lafrancois. He said that I like the signing of the old Ottawa player too. I think he's talking about Bobby Ryan. Good move. He wants his career to kickstart. I think he's going to get a good chance for that in Detroit. I think he's going to help a lot of young kids here, and I think he's going to be a stabilizing force here. I do.
All right, yeah, for sure. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on. So, what are your thoughts on the Red Wings draft as a whole? Now, I couldn't write everybody down, but I mean, we took multiple defensemen. We took a lot of Europeans. It felt like. We even took Chris Draper's son.
Yes, we did.
Son. I don't know how I feel about that, but
it's an awful lot of pressure on the kid. It is. So that's
yeah.
No, that's tough. It is.
No, I don't know. I mean, hopefully they don't let. I mean, it's hard, but I don't know. I never like the feeling of putting family together in these situations, but that's just me. All right, but yeah, what are your thoughts? what are your thoughts on the Red Wings draft as a whole? Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
All right, go ahead, Seth.
I'm laughing because I'm to feed into your point about family, mixing family and business and hockey. I believe back in Colorado, Pierre Lacroix traded his own son Eric. I think I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
And we've seen stuff like that happen in other sports where maybe the father would be the GM and the son would be a player, and they end up trading, and the father ends up trading the son. So yes, that does make for an awkward situation. And I feel like with Keenan Draper being drafted by the Red Wings, it made for a nice sentimental moment. But Jim is right, that could put a lot of pressure on him. It probably would have been better had he been drafted by another team, maybe. Because we also got another second-generation player, Kyle LaCoin, Adrian LaCoin's son. I'm sure he won't have as much pressure since his father played for other teams like the Canucks, for instance. But was the question about the draft the question was about the draft as a whole, right?
Yeah, draft as a whole.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the Red Wings?
All right, I didn't want to get too much off track. So yeah, obviously my first thought was Eisman sure likes his Swedes, but he also drafted a player from Finland and a few North American players also. So it was still ultimately a good mix. From what I can see, they all still fit his MO of players that are versatile and have a great hockey IQ. guys that know how to play the game and can do multiple things. So that's my biggest takeaway from all the draft picks as a whole, whether they're big or small, North American, European. They know how to play the game. They have the high hockey IQ, and they're versatile.
All right, I like it. Jim, I think you're gonna kill it right now. You're gonna leave us all speechless, I think, right now. So, what are your thoughts on the Ravens draft as a whole?
As a whole, I thought they did a pretty good job. It looks like Steve Yzerman values his defenseman. William Wilander is from Sweden. He's a 6'3", 6'4" defenseman. Pretty good with the puck. I'm not sure where he fits. I don't see him on the first or second power play unit, but he is more of an offensive-minded defenseman and big. And a really big guy. Theodor Niederbach was a guy that actually should have probably went a lot higher than he did. He has extreme talent. I like the kid a lot, actually. He's very detailed mentally. Okay, so he can make quick decisions because he can read things quicker. He maintains he's better defensively than people would think. He comes in, suffocates the opposing puck carriers. He's dialed in, capable of making the right reads, like I said. And I think that he had a problem with his knee joints. So it cost him a whole season. Or he would have been much higher in this draft and probably in the top 10. But that's a steal for Steve Yzerman right there. So that's one. Cross Hanses has an incredibly weird shot that one shot that he does from behind the net, I think, is outstanding. He is a very confident kid, maybe a little too confident, maybe borders on cocky just a little bit. I like the kid, though. It's going to take a while for him to develop, as most of these players will. But I thought he was pretty good. That lacrosse thing that he does from behind the net, I've seen him do it a few times. Really liked that play. He's a very good puck handler. He just does it naturally. He can find people in the slot, and that's a big thing. If you ever notice me talking about that, that's huge. He's more right now a playmaker than anything else, but he can put the puck in the net too. So he has a variety of moves, and I think that it's going to take him some time. He's a 6'1", 185-pound guy. 165 pounds. He's got to fill out just a little bit. He's 18 years old. Good player. I think there's a lot of these guys in the draft that people are going to be like, and Donovan Sabrango, a defenseman, pretty good defenseman, like I said. And there's a lot of defensemen in this draft that he went and got. And I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. He played in the OHL for the Rangers, Kirchner Rangers. 18 years old. As I said, he's 6'1", 183 pounds. See, that's where I got the 183 from. It was in my head.
Right.
His father is Eduardo Sabrango, who is a pro soccer player. So that's pretty cool. He comes from that type of thing. Are we moving me on now or what?
No, keep talking. I'm sorry.
Oh, all right. That's what I thought was happening there. I'm like, man, we didn't even get to any of these guys, really.
Yeah, you have at least a couple more.
Emil Vero is a defenseman also. I'm just going to kind of move on. Sam Stange, he's a right winger going to be playing at the University of Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken. I want to spend a little bit of time on Jan Bednar. He's the goaltender that we picked. He is really streaky. He's really on or he's really off. And I think he has a lot of potential. He's a 6'4" goaltender, which dude is huge. 196 pounds. He is athleticism at that size, though. And he's such a talented guy, but he's raw. He'll be really, really good. He has a windmill glove. He lunges with the splits. I mean, the guy is really athletic, but then all of a sudden he's terrible. I don't get it. He's up and down. He needs to learn. He's gonna take some time. He's a Czech goalie. I don't want to say think Dominic Hasek, but something like that. But he's a really big kid. I think he has potential. He was the number 2 rated goaltender out of anybody in the entire draft. So I think we did really well there too. Alex Cotton, don't know much about him. He's a defenseman. Kyle Aucoin, I don't know a whole lot about him, although the name sounds familiar. Keenan Draper is Drapes' son, and then we end it with Chase Bradley. So that's it. I could have went through every one of them, but I think that's just too much.
The thing I know about Kyle Cohen is he's Adrian's son. That's what I know.
Okay.
If you remember Adrian Cohen,
I do. That's what I was trying to think, because I knew I remembered the name, but I wasn't sure from where. Okay, I'll stop hijacking the show now.
No, I like that. No,
you're good.
Everything that you guys say, dude. Like the people need to hear us. Also, I want to give a shout out to Micro Mike. What's up, Mike?
What's up, Mike?
You've been coming in a lot lately.
Hey, bud.
Yeah, good to see you in the chat. But and yeah, thanks for coming in. So Jim, do you want to add anything else, or do you not want anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right, cool. So no, I like this draft. We got a decent amount of defensemen. We got a lot of players, and we have a lot of options. You know, it's like one of these has got to be bound to something's got to be bound to work here. I really love our top third. I like the Czech goalie. Honestly, I like him a lot. I haven't watched the most film on him, but like I don't know. I just
he's a big kid. He's a big kid with athleticism, and that's a good combination. He just got to get trained up, and he's got to, like I said, he's got to mature. You know.
All right, yeah, for sure. All right, so now we got to talk. All right, so we didn't spend as much time as I expected to spend on the draft, but we're gonna go ahead and move on. We're gonna move on to players that are coming in, players that we decided to let go. All right, so Eisman did not tender Brendan Perlini, Christopher N., or Madison Valley. What are your thoughts? Jim, let's let you go this time, because
okay. My thoughts are that he admits his mistakes. With Perlini, no, seriously, I think Perlini was a bad trade. I don't think we got much out of that, and I think he's admitting that mistake and moving on. The other ones, you know what? It's just time for Yzerman to make his team the way it's supposed to be. I actually think that proves to me that he's a leader, and he don't care what anyone else thinks. He's just going to make his team the way he wants to make his team, and I'm good with that.
For sure. Actually, I want to take this question really fast. Can you wait 3 years for a contender? I don't know if you mean playoff contender or Stanley Cup contender. But honestly, yeah, I can wait. I've seen enough winning. I'm patient enough to be willing to wait for 3 years for a contender. But what do you guys think about that real fast? I'm sorry to get you off track, but what do you guys think about that question real fast?
I like it. I think I'm willing to wait because I trust Steve Yzerman. I think that it was a complete rebuild, so it's going to take time. So I'm totally willing to wait. I have no problem with that.
All right, Seth, do you want to take that or?
Yeah, well, and work it back into the other question too. Yeah. Yes, I can wait because like I've said before, a lot of fans my age and younger, we became fans during the time which the Red Wings were already Cup contenders. So, we collectively, my age group, is a very spoiled group, and they don't know anything else but the Red Wings being, winner Stanley Cup contenders and having the playoff streak. So this recent dry spell is new to them, and that's something that's tough for them to deal with. They expect the Wings to get right back up to where they were, which is not going to happen. So, and actually, in a way, it's kind of fun to be a fan during this time, because I'm not old enough to remember the Dead Wings, so it's kind of fun to see the Red Wings during this rebuilding stage. In a way, actually, believe it or not, as crazy as that may sound to some folks. So, yes, I can wait for, well, I'm not sure if Alex meant for them to be a playoff contender or Stanley Cup contender, because those are two different things. But either way, I can wait. I can be patient. Yzerman told us to be patient, so he's told us multiple times, be patient. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Be patient. Alex said Detroit fans complain more than Leafs fans. Well, I don't know about Leafs fans, but yeah, Wings fans can complain quite a bit. If you go to Red Wing groups on Facebook, I don't know how many times fans say every season, fire Blashill, fire Blashill, fire Blashill. So yes, Alex, you're right. They did. A lot of Red Wings fans do complain a lot. Now, as far as I know I'm kind of going off tangent, but in terms of guys like Perlini not being tendered, yeah, like Jim said, Yzerman is admitting his mistake here. Perlini, he was a low risk trade, but didn't work out. So see ya, hit the road, goodbye. And who are the other guys? Madison Bowery, I think.
Madison Bowie and Christopher N were the other two guys.
And it really didn't strike me as really adding a whole lot. I know he was a defensive guy, and I like offense, but I guess to me he didn't move the needle enough as a defensive contributor to really warrant keeping, and like a Draper back in his day. And then also for Bowery, I know that surprised some people because he had some offensive potential, but I saw him as being a guy that's ultimately expendable, replaceable. Nothing against him, but basically a guy that's expendable and that who Yzerman inherited rather than bring in himself. So, like Jim said, Yzerman is now remolding the team in his image. This last season was just an observational season, much like Jim Devellano's first season in the job back in the 82-83 season. That was an observational season because it was a year after he became GM that he drafted Yzerman. So I just want people to realize that. So now he's, taking the gloves off and really getting to work and, getting to cooking. So it's going to take a while, going to take a few years, but, he has a plan and, I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. So he hasn't given me any reason not to doubt him. Of all the GMs here in Detroit, he is the one that I, by far, have the most confidence in, more than Al Avila. I'm not sure who the Pistons GM is now, so I'm not going to count him because I think he's new, so I'm not going to count him yet. And I have way more confidence in Yzerman than Bob Quinn, which I'm not even going to. I'm not going to go there. I could do a whole rant about Bob Quinn. That would take a whole show itself, so I'm not even going to go there.
All right. Yeah, I think you guys hit all the nails on the head right here. I just flat out don't care that he didn't. I have no feelings for or against him not tendering or not tendering these players. It is what it is, pretty much. I mean, they weren't moving the needle all that much. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I don't really have to say that much on it. It's a pretty simple topic. Does anyone else have anything to add, or should we go ahead and talk about another player that is not coming back to Detroit?
Let's go ahead.
All right. Justin Abdicator's days in Detroit are over. What are your thoughts? Jim, let's start off with you because you have a little bit more. You have probably a little bit more positive things to say about Abdicator than a lot of Detroit fans might. So I'm gonna start with you.
Well, he's from here in Muskegon, so yeah. I think honestly, it's going to be a sad day to let him go. He was 100% Red Wing and gave everything for that team. But it is time to move on. The big contract and everything. It was time for Yzerman to say bye. And you know what? It is what it is. I'm not going to go and say it wasn't a warranted move because it is. So that's what I think.
Yeah, that's you pretty much. I think you said how pretty much all of us are gonna feel like I'm not gonna rip Justin Abdicator a new one. Thanks for your contributions to the team, but it's just the time. There's just always a time where it's just time to move on from players. But Seth, thoughts on Abdicator's Detroit's what are your thoughts on the Abdicator's days in Detroit being done?
Well, it's kind of bittersweet because, believe it or not, for a long time, I really liked Abdicator. As he kind of reminded me of Kurt Maltby in a way, to where he was, kind of had like similar type size, to where he was big but not real big, but he could be physical checking grinder, but also had a little bit of scoring touch, a little bit more than Maltby had. He showed that he could be a 20-goal guy when playing on the top line with Datsuk. In today's NHL, that's pretty darn good. So, and even though I didn't see him as being an enforcer type, I admired the fact that he was willing to step into that role because the Wings really didn't have anyone else able to be in that role except for that brief amount of time Steve Ott was on the team. And I feel bad from the standpoint of how he has spent his entire hockey career in the state of Michigan, whether it was playing at Muskegon in the USHL, playing for Michigan State, then in Grand Rapids, and then the Red Wings. So from that standpoint, I do feel bad for him. But from the business standpoint, I definitely understand it was time. It was definitely time. He's not the player he once was. That big contract has really become an albatross around the neck of the Red Wings organization. So it's something that needed to be done, so you can't really let emotions run the day when running a sports team. That's what messed up William Clay Ford with the Lions for so many years. You have to remember it's a business. So Yzerman, realizes that. So, he had to do what needed to be done. Al Piticator was, a great character guy, alternate captain, great in the community. And like Jim said, all about the Red Wings of Michigan. So again, it's a very bittersweet move. So,
all right, yeah,
that's my take.
All right, for sure. All right, so now we're going to talk about some. Now we talk about the players that are done. Now let's talk about some players that are staying for a little bit longer. Yzerman gave Adam Ernie and Taro Hirose 1-year extensions. What are your guys' thoughts on these moves? Jim, let's start with you.
Well, it's just a 1-year extension, so I honestly don't see it as being a huge move. He just feels that they're part of the rebuild at this point. You have to have players to field the team. You know what I mean? So a lot of these moves are just for that purpose until some of these guys start developing and coming on to the Red Wings.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right on the head. they're kind of just players to fill out the team. That's kind of how I view it right now. But I mean, that's all it is. They're just players to fill out the team until further notice. Seth, what are your thoughts on these two getting extensions?
I'm fine with it. Ernie, I don't know a whole lot of, and haven't seen a whole lot of, but I'm fine with him being a body in the lineup that that can play, that can suit up. I'm fine with that. And as far as Hirose goes, I guess I saw some potential in him when he during that first season. When he showed some offensive spark. Maybe that was a fluke, maybe not. I was hoping that it wasn't a fluke, but I see him as a guy who could maybe. How's it going, Pistons talk? How's it going?
Hey, what's up, dude?
So I'd hop on with you guys.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Thank you so much for hopping on. Actually, seriously, thanks a bunch. But Seth, go ahead, continue what you were saying.
So with Hirose, I'm not sure if he's going to be a permanent NHL player. So I was kind of hopeful that he would be that solid third line guy who could provide, a little bit of offensive spark, maybe even play on the second line if someone gets injured. But who knows? I think this 1-year extension is, basically a wake up call for him to basically prove himself. So that's why the way I see it for him.
All right, I like it. All right, Pistons talk. What are your thoughts on Adam Ernie and Taro Hirose receiving 1-year extensions?
Just a Band-Aid until we can actually get guys that we feel that can compete for the playoffs. I like Hirose a little bit, but I mean, kind of like what Seth said, he's probably a third line guy. He's not going to be in your second line, but it's just a Band-Aid until we can find, players that fit the system well and we feel that we can compete in the playoffs.
I'm sorry. No, it's a good take, but the way you worded it got a good laugh out of me. No, I agree with what everyone said. With I mean, in all honesty, I could even almost look at these guys as potential trade pieces. I don't like Ernie's 24 years old, so wait, is Hiroshi or no? Ernie is 24 years old, so I mean, he's a potential trade piece, I guess. It's not like he can play. He's not the greatest player, but I mean, both these players can definitely play. I mean, I'm pretty indifferent about us bringing them back. I didn't feel it was the most necessary, but the way you worded it, Pistons talk, it's just a band-aid until we get the right players in place. It was perfectly worded. All right, I guess let's talk about. So speaking of those guys, let's talk about our free agent haul. So there may be more because I missed a lot of guys that we brought in because they're happening so fast. So the Red Wings brought in free agent left wing Bobby Ryan, defenseman John Merrill, center Kyle Criscolo, and they brought in goalie Kevin Boyle, and they also brought in Riley Barber. So I guess what are your guys' thoughts on? Oh yeah, and
Don't forget Grice.
Yeah, and Thomas Grice. So I guess we can even throw him in here to this conversation as well. Pistons talk. Let's start off with you. What are your thoughts of the Red Wings free agent haul so far, and what kind of impact do you see them having for the team this upcoming season?
Well, I love the Bobby Ryan signing because if you're telling me I'm replacing Bobby Ryan with just an applicator, I'm all for it. I think he can definitely still, prove something. He's been through a lot with drug issues and alcohol. So, I'm praying for him. Hope he can have a good season with the Wings. I absolutely love the Grice signing, and the last guy that we got from Vancouver, Troy Stretcher. I think that's his last name. That was a steal. That was a steal to me. I'm surprised we got him for so damn cheap. I'm liking our decor. I think we're gonna have a better defense this year. I think we could probably push to maybe 30 wins if we all stay healthy and Mantha doesn't get in a fight and punch somebody. But I think we can definitely be in that 30 win plateau.
All right, I like it. Jim, what are your thoughts on the Red Wings free agent haul so far?
I think I agree with Pistons talk on the Bobby Ryan signing and the new defenseman. Yeah, he's only 26, I think. I'm trying to remember, but Thomas Grice, I think, is 34-year-old goaltender, but I think he's been paid as the number one goalie here. I don't know. Bernie is getting $2 million, so he's getting 3.6 average, which I think his base this year is 2.8 or something like that. But I still think either he splits time or he's the starter. And I think we mentioned that before, or I don't know if we did. He was a Jennings Trophy winner 2 years ago, which is the fewest goals against. So, and he played with the Islanders and split time there. But I think he's a good goalie, and I think he gets us through to when one of our other goalies either one of our other goalies starts to mature and become a really good goaltender, or we're going to sign a big name free agent goalie in the future.
All right, yeah, no, I agree with Bobby Ryan. I like this signing a lot, and I loved his attitude in his press conference, in his introduction press conference. Like, I just loved it. I'm here to prove that I can still play. It was basically stuff along those lines, but it wasn't just that he said it. It was the way he said it. You'd almost just hear the determination in his voice, how excited he was. You could almost just feel how excited he was to be here, help turn this thing around, show that he's still a good player that we all think he can be. With John Merrill, I mean, I'm pretty indifferent about John Merrill, honestly. Like with Chris Colo, Boyle, and Barber, I mean, they're just 1-year deals. Two of those skaters don't even have a point in their career at this point. Barber's played 12 career games, and Chris Colo's played 9 career games, if my notes are correct. And then Kevin Boyle, actually, I want to talk about Kevin Boyle real fast because this is interesting. He's only played in 5 games. In those 5 games, he has a 2.17 goals allowed average, a 928 save percentage. Granted, it's 5 games, and he's only faced 139 career shots. But at least in that small sample size, maybe he could be some. But with Thomas Grice, he was a key contributor for the Islanders, and he helps them. Like, he didn't play that many games in the playoffs, but he helped them get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Not in this prior run. So the Thomas, no, I agree with Jim about the Thomas Greiss. It's gonna be interesting to see how he plays out. And honestly, I don't think Bernier is a bad goalie. I kind of like Bernier more than I probably should. So I think that can be not necessarily the dynamic duo of goaltending, but it's a solid goaltending duo, I guess. But Seth, did I get to you on the Red Wings free agent class as a whole yet?
No.
All right, yeah, you go ahead. You can go ahead.
Well, you know what? This may sound kind of silly, but it seems like I do more research on players when I'm wearing the GM hat playing NHL 12 or 15 than I do in real life, and a lot of times, as crazy as that may sound. But for what it's worth, at first glance, these are all signings for, 1 or 2 years. So basically short-term signings, for this stage of the rebuild, early stage of the rebuild. A lot of the players, like PD, I'm probably indifferent about, don't feel one way or another like Merrill. I do know that Merrill's a familiar name, but I really don't. I'm really more or less indifferent. I figure he'll, provide depth on the blue line for the time being. Now with Bobby Ryan, Pistons talk, I actually did not know about his off-ice issues a whole lot. I did know that he was a player that, kind of struggled offensively for a while, so I didn't know that part. I know he's been in both Anaheim and Ottawa. I really like how that he wants to be part of the rebuild, and that he talked, I think Dylan Larkin helped recruit him to Detroit. So it looks like, he's a veteran guy who wants to be here and, help the young guys, mentor them, and be part of this rebuild. So improve that he does have a little bit more left in the tank, that he's not just some washed up old guy. So that's great. And then with Greiss, Jim may be onto something about him being an underrated signing. He's a Jennings Trophy. He's not a, superstar goalie per se, but, he is a Jennings Trophy winner. And I do see him as being a very solid signing. I see him as largely probably sharing the load with Jonathan Bernier. Maybe neither one of them being a clear-cut number one goalie right away. Basically have them play it out to see who emerges as that number one guy. But it's nice to have Greiss as that good insurance policy, even if Bernier ends up, keeping his spot. Because looking back at history, a lot of times with goalies, they're not given the number one spot. They have to earn it by outplaying whoever else is on the team. So, may the best goalie win.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Does anyone else have anything to add on this topic? Or should we?
I want to get Pistons talk his view of the draft, because we didn't get to him.
Yeah. So Pistons talk. We talked about a lot of stuff beforehand. So we're gonna kind of go a little rapid fire with you. Lucas Raymond, what are your thoughts on Lucas Raymond on the Red Wings draft pick?
I love the pick. I honestly was having a conversation with my friend, and he's like, we're going to take Marco Rossi or Cole Perfetti. And I'm like, if Raymond's on there, you have to take him. I honestly think Raymond is their best prospect. I think he's going to be a guy that we'll probably see in 2 years. And he's definitely kind of reminds me of a Mitch Marner type of player, where you guys probably know who that is from Toronto, right?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though the Maple Leafs suck.
Yeah. I honestly, I was really excited with the pick. I'm actually shocked that the Kings took Byfield. I thought they were going to take Stützle, but hey, it's a good
I did too.
I was really shocked by that. I was like, really, Byfield? I was like, all right. And
I honestly thought Byfield would slip. I really did.
I was praying.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm probably the only one who wasn't shocked by that, because, you look at a lot of teams, a lot of times teams will go ahead and have two top level centers, one on the first line, one on the second line, like with Yzerman and Fedorov, or Sakic and Forsberg, Crosby and Malkin, or even Lemieux and Francis. And then you also have the fact that Kopitar is getting older, so he would once he hangs up the skates, Byfield could be the number one guy. But that's my 2 cents. So sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to add that part.
Oh, for
I
sure.
mean, I wouldn't be surprised, like maybe 2-3 years down the line, you have a second line of Veleno, Zadina, and Raymond. Just imagine those top 2 lines. That's going to be lethal for the Red Wings.
I see Raymond on the top line. I don't see him on the second line.
Well, I'm saying if you have like Larkin, Mantha, and Bertuzzi, then you're just going to have so much depth. You're going to have to put him out there somewhere.
That's true, but I don't know. I think talent wise, he's going to be better than Bertuzzi. I do.
Same here.
Oh, for sure. No, but no. What was I going to say about? Oh, but speaking.
And
of
I like
Rossi,
Bertuzzi. Don't get me wrong. I just think this kid has a lot of talent. He just has to fill out and stuff and get mature as a person and all that. So.
Oh yeah. No, speaking of Rossi and there were a lot of surprises in the draft for me. Like, didn't Rossi fall all the way to like 10 or something?
Yeah, and I liked Rossi. I thought he was a pretty good playmaking center. I liked him a lot, actually.
I laughed at Buffalo's pick. Like
Who did they pick?
Jack Quinn.
Oh, yeah, that's.
I honestly laughed. I was like, it's like Minnesota was probably just like grinning ear to ear that he fell.
Yeah,
it's like
they're like, what?
Wow.
I was surprised some draft boards actually had Rossi going that low or even lower, believe it or not.
Yeah,
so.
That's okay. He's a small guy, and I think that might be why. But boy, he's a hell of a playmaker. I can tell you that much.
Yeah,
oh, for sure. All right, the other thing you didn't get a chance to talk about. What are your thoughts on the Red Wings draft as a whole?
It looks like they like Sweden still, but
Germany and Sweden. And
other than that, I thought the first 3 rounds those guys were really good, and then as we got like in the later rounds, like the 5th, the 6th round, some of the guys they're just like, you know what, screw it, just put them in the pipeline in Grand Rapids or have them overseas. Like that, like the Draper pick for me, I was just like, wow, that's really funny.
Yeah,
that's a lot of pressure on the kid, though. He must be decent enough.
Yeah,
because there's no way you get picked by your dad if you're not a good player. You know what I mean? Because that's just disgraceful for both people.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Pistons talk. I keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, unless it's like a Bob Quinn thing, bring in your buddy.
Oh Lord!
Yeah, we don't want no more of that.
I said I wasn't gonna. I said I wasn't gonna go. Excuse me. I said I wasn't gonna go on a rant about Quinn on here. That would take a whole show by itself. Because I was saying before he came on, Pistons talk that
we had a live last night. Pistons talk. We had a live last night, and they said they was talking about Chris Spielman, and I'm like, I started to think about it, and I'm like, okay, his brother's a GM. He's a former Lion great, maybe more of a defensive guy. I don't know. That's somebody I'm actually thinking about. What do you think about that? I know it's a hockey show, but I had to get your thoughts.
Let's talk about that on the roundtable. Let's talk about that on the roundtable. I'm sorry, Jim.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
on the roundtable.
I was just gonna say, finish my thought that out of all the GMs that we have, Yzerman is the one that I have by far the most confidence in. So.
Yep, for sure. All right, what else did we not get to you on? Oh, just give us your quick rapid fire. So, Pistons talk, Perlini and Masson Bowie did not get tendered by Yzerman. What are your thoughts on that?
I love that he didn't do it. It's just refreshing to have a GM that can like just look at talent and say, you're not good enough. The production's not there. Now, Perlini, I know he was a former first-round pick, but it's just like when he played, it just, I don't know if he wasn't ready or what, but I just wasn't impressed with it. Who's the other guy that you mentioned? I forgot.
Bowie.
Perlini and Bowie.
Bowie, I'm actually kind of happy he was gone. I know we did. I think we got a 2nd round pick from Washington, and we drafted one of the guys. I don't know. I can't remember who it was, but his time here was okay. I wasn't really impressed with him at all. I mean, he had a couple goals here and there, but I think our D-core is going to be a lot better.
All right. No, I agree. I mean, I think we're all kind of on the same page with some of these guys. What about Justin Applicator? His days in Detroit are done. Quick thoughts.
As the person, I respect him a lot, like what he did with the community in Detroit. But as the player, I was so happy Steve Yzerman did that. He basically said, I'm not getting the production of what your contract is. He basically called them trash without calling him trash. So that was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, he does have a way with words, even though he has few words a lot of times, but he does have his way of words. As Jim would say, you have to read between the lines with him. And as I've often said, and I kid you not, it seems like if I want to know what Stevie Y is thinking, I literally just have to think about what I would do, what I would be thinking, what kind of moves I would make. You know, I mean, this is going back to studying his moves in Tampa Bay, like with the Martin St. Louis contract, how he wanted a bigger contract and Yzerman traded him, you know?
Yeah.
That's the type of move I would have made. Seriously.
All right, Pistons talk. Did you get a chance to talk about Hiroshi and Ernie yet?
I did.
Okay, so you talked about.
Yeah, that's when he came on.
All right, so in all honesty, we're basically out of questions at this point. So does anyone else have anything they want to talk about real fast with this frenzy of a week that's been going on? Does anyone else have anything they want to talk about, or do you think we should go ahead and close the show out?
How do you guys feel about I know a lot of people wanted Torrey Krug. How do you feel about not getting him and him going to St. Louis instead?
Ooh, I guess I'll take it first. I did want him. I mean, I can live with it. Like, it is what it is. Like, we're in no rush. I'll probably change my tune during the season because, during the season, your emotions are like through, at least I don't know about you guys, but for me, my emotions are through the freaking roof when the season's going on, and I'm cussing at the TV and throwing things and doing all that stuff. But like I said, I might change my tune during the season, but it's okay for now. Like, develop our guys. Maybe next, I don't know what next year's free agent class looks like, but like maybe a year or two down the line, we'll make like one of these power moves and go from there. But for now, there's no rush. That we don't have any rush right now to get this thing where it needs to be. I mean, there'll eventually be pressure, but like, I don't have the highest expectations for next year. I mean, I expect to see improvement. Like, we cannot come out and be like this. Almost, they basically looked like, dude, they were looking like a high school team out there at times. Like, we can't have that this year. We gotta work on the fundamentals, do just basic stuff, man. Get all the basics down. That's the biggest improvement I want to see from going into this year. But it's okay that we didn't get Krug. It's not the end of the world. Like, he's not going to come in and turn us into a Stanley Cup contender or anything like that. He's not the final piece to. Yeah, he's not our final piece that's going to put us over the top, if that makes any sense. Seth, did that answer your question or not really?
That's sufficient.
All right, cool. All right, everyone else, take your shots at this. Who wants to go?
Pistons talk. How about you?
I was actually kind of relieved. I feel like Wings fans do this every year when we have cap space. Like, they wanted Jacob Markstrom and they wanted Torrey Krug in the same free agency, basically. And it's like, okay, if you get a guy like that, you're maybe winning 4 or 5 more games. And the contract he got is absolutely outrageous. Like 7 years over, like $45 million. Like, it's going to be, that contract will last until he's 36 years old. So St. Louis is just, doing a win now thing and, good for them. But I'm really happy we signed guys on 1 to 2 year deals and not waste cap space on a guy like that. It's not going to help us win in the long term.
Yeah, I actually want to feed off of what you said about it. Like, but St. Louis is in a complete we want those players. St. Louis is in a completely different situation. They've won the Stanley Cup in the past 2 years. They're one of the defending Stanley Cup champions. Like, they can take these power moves and extend it, and they're trying to extend their reign. Like, we're not in any position to extend our reign. We don't have any reign of anything. We have a reign of I don't even have the right word, but we're not in a good era right now. So. But Jim, you haven't spoken on that particular topic yet. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I also think that it would have been a huge mistake to sign him, especially that many years and that big of a contract. It just isn't. It isn't what we need right now. And I agree with Pistons talk. Every time there's a big name free agent, because in Detroit we used to sign big name free agents all the time, and it was no big deal. But now with the salary cap and all the implications from that, and the stage we're at in the rebuild, it just wouldn't make any sense right now.
You guys, both of you guys, hit on a very good point about how a lot of fans are. It seems like, and it's not just with the Red Wings, you see it with the Lions too. Like I remember a couple years back, everybody wanted the Lions to get Antonio Brown. Let's get Antonio Brown. Every time some big name star is available, fans want their teams to get that player. We were talking before the show about how some fans wanted the Wings to sign Taylor Hall. And I'm like, what? I mean, why? We're in a rebuild. He probably wants to go to a winner. And from what I've read, he doesn't have the best attitude in the world. Why would you want to sign that guy? No. People just think that, GMs are Santa Claus and are expected to bless them with whatever Christmas gift they want with whatever player they want. That's not how it works.
I love the way you worded that, Seth. I love the way you worded it. Actually, I guess I want to add this. I think we all kind of answered the question, but should the Red Wings? No, we don't need to talk about it. We basically addressed it in that last question. So, does anyone else have anything they want to talk about before we, or should we just go ahead and close the show out?
Do you guys want to talk about Tyler Johnson or no?
No, the Red Wing killer. No,
I'm not familiar enough with
he just cleared waivers from Tampa Bay and it's one of Steve's players. So I don't know if they would go after a guy like that.
Ooh, you know what?
I think they would.
Let's talk about it real fast.
How old is he, and how much would he be looking for?
He's at 29. I'm sorry. You go ahead. Pistons talk. Here's your question.
He's 30 years old, and he put up what did he put up last year? Oh, this year.
I got the stats for you. I
got 14 goal. Yeah.
14 goals, 17 assists, and 31 points, and he had 13 even strength goals, 1 power play goal, 2 game-winning goals, 11 even strength assists, and 6 power play assists. Yeah.
It depends on how much he wants. To me, I don't know, and the length of contract.
Let's say like $5 million.
TD, I'm very surprised that you don't really know about him, because he was one of the noted Red Wing killers of the last few years. I don't remember which year it was, either 2015 or 16, but one of those years, he was really taking it to the Red Wings in the playoffs offensively. Much like Joe Pavelski did for the Sharks against the Wings years earlier. He was another Red Wing killer. So I'm surprised there you didn't know about that.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised. Honestly, you know what? Looking at him now, like just now looking back, like, yeah, why not? Like maybe, like he led the playoffs in points in the 2014-2015 season. The Lightning did not win the Stanley Cup that year, but he was balling. That's probably not even the right word, but he was balling out. And I mean, sure, yeah, I wouldn't be.
No, he was pucking great.
Yeah, pucking. Yeah, that's a good term. That's a good term. Pucking great. He was pucking. He was doing that good. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be totally against it. I think you're onto something, Pistons.
What do you think, Pistons Talk? Do you think we should get him or not?
Well, I don't know if Steve's kind of gonna. I hate to use a Lion to reference again, but I don't know if he's gonna be like a Lions and bring in former Patriots. But he did bring in Adam Ernie, who's a former Lightning. I don't know if he's gonna kind of like look at Tyler Johnson and say, I need to improve my second line, because I don't think Sam Gagner is a second line caliber center. So I don't really know. I guess that would kind of be like, I want to win a couple extra games because we get screwed in the lottery every year anyways. Why not bring in a guy that help us win more games? Maybe we'll actually win the lottery if we finish like the Rangers did. Like,
yeah, there you go.
Who knows?
If we make the playoffs, we could win the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea. God, I'm so angry.
I think to some extent, every GM will bring in some players that they've had before, but I don't see Yzerman as being, as doing, the lightning way because, it's not like Bob Quinn trying to do the Patriots way. With Yzerman, he's doing things the Yzerman way. Same way he did in Tampa is the way he's doing in Detroit. And he was originally in the Red Wings organization. So in a roundabout kind of way, his way is still kind of, the Red Wing way. So I don't think you have to worry about that one bit of Pistons talk. Not one bit.
I wasn't really worried about it. I was just saying he could bring in a former Lightning player,
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, all GMs will sometimes bring, players from where previous stops, is that familiarity, and reliability.
No, I think you're onto something. I wouldn't say no to it. I wouldn't say yes to it necessarily, but I definitely wouldn't say no to it. I think it's definitely something to consider.
If you can get a cheap deal like he's been getting, I'm all for it. I mean, what's the biggest contract we've signed so far? Like $3 million?
Yeah, to Grice. That was pretty much our biggest contract, I'm pretty sure.
We still got
that was the biggest one.
We still have like $18 million left, so we could possibly, get a trade to get more picks, and actually make a big signing. Who knows what Steve's going to do with the cap space?
I sit on it.
I think he sits on a lot of it till next year, or maybe the trade deadline.
Yeah, for sure. All right, does anyone else want to talk about? Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about?
I think I'm good.
Seth,
same here.
Pistons talk?
I can't really think of any players that have been linked to Detroit, but so no.
All right, well, then I guess we're going to go ahead and close the show out. Thank you, Alex Lafrancois. Thank you, Micro Mike. And thanks, Detroit Drew, for tuning in. Those were the guys I saw in the chat. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. This was a fun show. Definitely lots to talk about on this show, and we got to all of it. Thank you, Pistons Talk, for joining, especially when you have 2 shows to do. You're going to be on Above the Rim tonight, I assume. So
yes, sir.
Yep. Thank you so much for tuning in and taking time out of your day to talk Red Wings with us. Yeah, we'll go. Yeah, just thanks everyone for coming in. Thanks everyone for being part of the show and taking time to do the research and come up with the questions on the spot, especially like that. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Who wants to give their final thoughts first? I'll just do a raise a hand.
I'll go ahead.
Raising the hand was a really good idea.
Pistons Talk. Thanks for joining us, and have a good show later with Above the Rim. Give a shout out to JMO for us. As always, great to talk Red Wings hockey. Join us again next week, same day, same time. You heard it from me, Seth Walker.
All right, who wants to go next? Nobody.
I'll go next. That's
all right,
fine.
You're going first. All
right. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Detroit Drew, Micro Mike, that other guy that I can't remember his name. No, just kidding. Alex Lafrancois. It's just probably the way you say that.
Yeah.
Really appreciate everybody being here. Thanks to Pistons Talk coming on in with us. You have a very good knowledge of hockey, and I appreciate it when I could talk to you about it. Everybody, Steve Yzerman's building his team in his image. He's getting rid of Jimmy Howard. He's getting rid of Abdicator. He's getting rid of a lot of people that have been here for a while and just we ain't winning. So he's shaking it up, and he's putting his guys in place, and he's drafting well and trading and doing the things that he did in Tampa Bay. I trust him, and I think in a few years we're going to have a playoff contending, a Stanley Cup contending team.
All right. Pistons Talk, you're up next.
Sorry I couldn't join earlier. I was actually cleaning my garage, but enjoyed talking hockey with you guys for like 30 minutes. Hopefully I can come on next week, and we can talk a full hour of hockey.
Sounds good.
We'll take all your help, dude. You're good. You're great on the show. You're great on the show. We love having you on. So, do you have anything else to say, or what's going? Yeah.
Not really. Not that I can think of.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks everyone for coming on. Thanks everyone for taking time out of your day to be with us. And yeah, with all that said, we are going to close the show out, and we are out.